Now, if you can see this old telephone pole behind me, there used to be a Model 2 Federal Signal siren on top of it. And this is on the Oregon Coast Cape Lookout State Park. And today we're going to be talking about why all the sirens on the Oregon coast have been disappearing. Now, if you don't know what these sirens are used for, they're essentially used to alert the whole campground and anybody within range of a tsunami. It's really uncommon that might occur, but we're going to talk about why the sirens have been taken down. Now you can see there again in the pole in the background over there, but something that most people underestimate about sirens is that the cost to maintain them is actually quite high. The cost can vary on the issue with the siren, but it can cost a pretty large amount. Plus, the siren we had here would have to be tested every single week on Monday at 12 o'clock, and the reason for that is that there is two parts to a siren. One part that spins on the outside, which is called the rotor, and an outer part, which is called the stator. And essentially those had such a small gap in between them that they would rust together and essentially not be able to move, which then the siren would not work in an emergency scenario. So how they decided to fix that was to test it every single week to break that rust, so that they would be able to use it in case of an emergency. Now, this became kind of an issue because now you're testing a siren every single week, and you don't know, the people on the beach don't know if it's a false alarm or not. So essentially in 2013, they decided to take 20 sirens off the Oregon coast down or just disable them. Now, there is still one last siren that I know still exists on the Oregon coast and is still in operation to this day. And to find that siren, we're gonna have to go way down that way. Behind me is one of the few working sirens on the Oregon coast at the moment. This would be at Netarts Bay, Oregon, right off of Tillamook and Cape Lookout. Now, where we were just taking our video a second ago was back here behind me, but this is now farther down the coast. I don't know the model of this siren, but you can be able to check it out probably by somebody in the comments. The siren testing is the second Monday of each month, so if you want to come down here and hear it for yourself, then come on that date. So yeah, I probably know that there's more working sirens in Oregon coast area, but this is the one I've been able to find, and I'm kind of sad that they're all going away. But now let's get on to what would happen if there was a tsunami. Okay, so in the case that there was a tsunami coming and we don't have sirens on the Oregon coast except that one I showed you earlier, what would happen is law enforcement, the Coast Guard, a nearby military base, and the Oregon Rangers would get vehicles with megaphones on them or aircrafts and fly or drive all over the Oregon coast in the danger zone to alert the people that there will be a tsunami coming. I do know one protocol that will be happening in case of a tsunami, but it is very unlikely for a tsunami to occur, so should it happen, would be very rare. The U.S. military base, about roughly 6 miles away, will send off a bomber with megaphones on it and then start yelling at the people flying very low over the whole coastline. Now you're thinking, well, wouldn't this all be cheaper and easier if we just had sirens? Well, no, think about this. Sirens cost yearly to maintain, and it can cost a lot of money, and people don't know if it's a false alarm or not. And the older ones were manual, so the response time was way less. So essentially, by sending out these vehicles that have manual operation, there's no way for there to be a false alarm, and to test them is quite easy. It's just to yell into the megaphone. The costs go down quite a bit, and also there really just can't be any false alarms. Also, before these sirens were installed on the Oregon coast, we didn't have the emergency broadcast system in place. Nowadays, we can get text messages to our phones saying that there's going to be a tsunami on the way and you have this much time to get out of the way of it. And the wide span of how many people we can get out of that tsunami in a certain amount of time, that time to evacuate drops crazy amounts. So by getting rid of sirens on the Oregon coast, We save tax money. There's no false alarms. We don't have to waste people's time on maintaining the sirens and having to test them manually. And most important of all, we save lives. So thanks for watching my video, and I hope you consider subscribing below, and I'll see y'all in the next one. And don't forget to stay creative, and most importantly, stay safe.